Hello, it's me again to talk about more cool art that Sputnik is funding. And to do that, I'm with Joanna Karselis, Birmingham-based composer and singer-songwriter. Jo, it is wonderful to be with you.
Thank you for having me. It's really lovely to be here.
No problem at all. I wonder if we should start at the beginning. So could you introduce yourself to the people who have had the misfortune of not making your acquaintance up to this point?
Oh, the poor things. I'm Jo. I write music, mainly film music, but also for game, advert, podcast, other mediums, all that kind of thing. I also write songs and I play a lot of instruments, so wear quite a lot of hats.
Are the hats essential for different instruments?
Oh yeah. It helps you know what you're doing. You have to put the cap on for the bouzouki and the fedora for the violin, that kind of thing.
Right, good. There's a poster there somewhere where you can get that all in order. I really like that.
Yeah,
that's good. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer composing for other people or self-initiated projects that you do, like in the singer-songwriter sort of genre?
It really varies on the project, I think. When I studied classical music, I didn't really feel like my music was very good when I was writing for myself a lot of the time. So it kind of went to film music out of necessity because it felt like writing with someone else or for something else made more sense. But then my songs have always been by me and for me, and there's kind of never been a third party involved to legislate whether they have value or quality or not. Yeah, I think it depends on what the project is, what I'm doing, what I feel like, where I'm at. I find great joy and value in doing all of them at different points, and each of them brings something else to my practice that the others don't.
Cool. Well, this is probably a stupid question, but if I was to ask you, what is the project you've worked on that you're like most proud of? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Probably a film called Reunification, which was actually my first film. It's a documentary, and it's about it's kind of nominally about family and disjointed family across the globe during the reunification of China. But actually, I think it's about a lot more than that. It's about identity and cultural identity. It's about child slavery. It's about gambling addiction. It covers so many things, and it has been really, really well received across the globe. It's done all these amazing festivals and it's still getting screened now. People are still reacting to it. High profile people have really liked it, like Meredith Monk really liked it, which meant a lot to me because she's a fantastic composer. So that one, yeah, I think that one has just connected with a lot of people globally and has made a difference, and it's validated a lot of people's experience as well. A lot of Asian American people find that it captures something of their lives which they haven't seen on film before, and that to me is so important. So that would probably be the film I'm most proud of.
Great. The reason we've got you here, as well as you just being a nice person to talk to, is we're helping to fund your newest project, which is an EP.
Yeah.
And many people obviously have responded to the pandemic artistically in a general sense, like what's going on and what's my place in this certain type of history. And your new music would certainly fall into that bracket to a degree, but it would be more of a personal response to your own personal experience of COVID, isn't it? So could you just talk us through how has COVID affected you?
Pretty badly, to be honest. The first 6 months of the pandemic weren't too bad. I think like everyone else, it was a huge adjustment and everything got cancelled and you know, all that kind of adjustment that we were all living with and the fear that we were all living with, but that was okay. Up until September 2020, when I suddenly started coughing and I couldn't stop, and it just went from there. I got sicker and sicker, and I didn't actually have COVID at the point I started coughing. I'd had it a few weeks before, it turned out, but it had been asymptomatic. And what I started experiencing in September last year was long COVID, which was it felt really strange at the time because I didn't realise I'd had COVID. I hadn't had any symptoms, but to suddenly then be stuck with the long-term effects of it was really surprising and really horrible. And it's been a really nasty 15 months with it now. The first 3 months were the worst. I think I was severely unwell during that first 3 months, which is when the idea for this project actually started to form and grew. Am I answering your question okay?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So the project, talk us through the project then. What was the project that kind of formed at that time?
Yeah, so the project itself started when I was stuck in bed for the first 3 months. I was too tired and too ill, and my body was in this kind of state of complete shock, so I couldn't really move for 3 months or so. and I was just lying in bed. I had a guitar nearby that I sometimes did a little bit of fiddling around on, maybe once a week when I had that was pretty much the limit of my energy, once a week. And I also had a pad of manuscript paper by my bed, and looking back at the dates, it's about every 2 weeks I had the energy to pick up and write, and that would be me done for a fortnight, which is mad. But I was listening to a lot of music and watching a lot of things that just would make me feel happy or like bring me some joy in that moment. I couldn't really compute anything too intense because of the brain fog. I couldn't read for a little while. It completely screwed my brain, so I couldn't even read. So yeah, having these little bits of things that brought me joy was really important to keep well mentally during that time. And I found that I just wanted to write joyful little bits of music, nothing too extensive at that point, but these little snippets of piano pieces that would bring me joy to listen to, and I could imagine them without it being too taxing sometimes. So I just started to write them down, and that was really how it started. It was just a response to what can I do that's creative and keeps me going mentally in this time of trauma, and also, you know, brings some joy into my life right now. And it was purely selfish at that point. It was purely like, I just want to express something of this time and remember it through these musical ideas that I'm writing down. And I think some of them, the pain of the experience got into it, as well as the joy, or the aspirational joy, I suppose. A lot of them just really captured the despondency, honestly. So that's how it started. And then in January, I started to feel a little bit better this year. I started to sit up in bed, and I would have my laptop and my sample library and my little mini keyboard, and I'd be able to sit for 1 hour, half an hour every few days. It was really gradual to start with, and I would just be able to write little bits of these pieces up into the computer, just with the piano to start with. And it kind of has just gone from there, to be honest. It's just been these tiny snippets that have grown as I've recovered. It's been my recovery project. That's something that I can come to when the brain fog is still bad or when I'm really tired, that I can still create through. I can still find solace in. It's just been a really personal diary, I suppose, of the last 15 months and how coming to terms with a new long-term illness that no one really understands has affected me.
Wow, I mean, art that brings joy from pain, in that sort of way. I mean, that's what art should do, you know. Really, I mean, I know I've had a chance to hear some of the projects in its earlier forms, and I know that it does that very effectively. So well done, and really looking forward to hearing the finished work as well. I mean, practically, where are you up to? Release dates, things like that. Do you know about that stuff?
I'm not sure on a release date yet. It will be sometime early next year, I think. It's probably going to go out on a record label that I've been talking to, so that they'll be handling that side of things, and I'll leave it to them and the release plan and everything. In terms of what I'm doing with it at the moment, I'm editing all the piano recordings, so the money that Sputnik very kindly gave has gone to recording sessions, which has been completely invaluable. We went in the studio, we did all the piano parts live, which was just a really wonderful experience to be able to get back in the studio and do that again, and to bring the parts to life with a real piano makes such a difference. So I'm editing those at the moment. I've got a little bit more work to do with with some of the other mixing things and some of the practical things like beats and stuff, but yeah, it's getting there now. I think we're probably about 75% done.
Yeah, fantastic, great. Well, we're really looking forward to the final product, and like I say, my prayer, Joe, would be that your experience these couple of years, you would be able to produce something that can bring joy wider, and I know that would be your hope as well, and I'm trusting that will definitely be the case. But brilliant. Well, fantastic to catch up with you as ever, and yeah, thank you so much for making music, Joe. It makes us all better, so much appreciated. See you later, and hopefully we'll have more news on new projects soon. Bye.